creepy, crawly, slimy, gross. The creature feature genre is something I love, but also makes my skin crawl. Let's talk about it. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome for tuning in to another episode here at Figure Out Films. I'm your host, as always, Chris. And like I said, today we are going to talk about my top 10, count it, 10 favorite creature feature movies. Now, I'll be honest, not all of these are like absolute favorites, but mostly these are movies that come to mind when I think about this genre, which honestly, this subgenre is very hard to kind of categorize. When you think of creature features, there's so many things that constitute it. Like, what about The Thing? What about sci-fi monsters? What about monsters and just creatures in general? Well, you know what? Scrap it, because I like to think of the creature feature as more animals that are out for the hunt. They smell blood, and you know, they can't really control what they're doing in some respects. That's just based off of instinct. That's what I like to think about. The creature feature is like either giant monsters that resemble everyday animals, or honestly killer off the chain animal killing movies. That's usually what a creature feature is to me. So to kind of just, you know, make some rules for today's episode, I am not going to be talking about werewolves. I'm not going to be talking about, you know, aliens and sci-fi that way, even though I think the creature feature is synonymous with the sci-fi genre. I'm not really going to talk about that too much, but if it resembles some sort of animal that we see in the everyday life, or like they're animals that exist, they're gonna be in this. But I just also love this genre, and also I was inspired by my buddy Daniel's top 10 1950s horror movies. Love my guy over there. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about my top 10 creature feature movies. Honestly, when watching these movies, these are the best to watch late at night with a couple beers in hand with some buddies and eating some snacks, and just shutting off the brain just a little bit, you know. And also, it's a good time to get, like I said in the beginning of the video, sometimes these movies make my skin crawl, because some of these animals I don't fuck with in real life. I hate going outside. Not only is it boring, there's nothing else to really do. Inside I have my movies, I have game systems and all that other stuff. I'll tell you, what is it to freaking see? A tree? A creepy crawly snake or a spider to get on you and bite you and infect you? I'm just not about the outdoors. And honestly, watching some of these creature features probably affected me. Coming in first, we're going to talk about a few movies that I actually don't own that are in my top 10. And the first one I want to talk about is the recent movie, The Meg 2. Now, The Meg 2, I really need a third movie for this franchise. Jason Statham's in these movies where it's about the megalodon, and honestly, I remember that crazy phase on like MTV where it was just like Sharknado 2, Sharktopus versus Mega Shark, and you know, all these other crazy things. I think it was Sci-Fi, maybe not MTV, where that was just the craze, and they were like direct-to-TV sci-fi movies, and they were really like creature features. The Meg kind of like gives the middle finger to those and makes very competently made giant shark attacking humans movies. And I really mess with it, and man, they're just super great. The Meg 2 in particular is like really on my side, because like you also get like little dinosaurs in the movie. The movie goes off the rails, and I'm here for it. The Meg 2, I think Jason Statham and the human characters are really great. I kind of care about them. They're funny. They have great chemistry. And the Meg comes in at perfect times to kind of fuck shit up. And I really like that. Not the biggest Jaws guy, but I do like sharks in movies that aren't... I don't know what it is about Jaws. I think I'm allergic to great movies. Maybe that's what it is. But I do love the Meg 2. And I love when Jason Statham says, "It's a megalodon." I just love that. It just rolls off the tongue real nice. It's pleasant to my ears. And also in the Meg 2, we get more megalodons. We go down in the trench. We see a bunch more. It's just super awesome. I love it. It's a great time. I love the Meg franchise, and I need a third one. The Meg trilogy would be amazing to see. Make it happen, Hollywood. Coming in next, talk about 1950s movies. There's nothing more iconic, I think, than them for like B-movie giant creature features. Giant ants in them is how I like to think about it. It's a great movie. It's black and white. It's about the military versus these giant ants that are attacking humanity. I did a great episode, I feel like, with my buddy Daniel on his podcast on 1950s horror movies. I love them. I love these giant ants. They look great. It's a really dark movie in terms of like the human condition going against these ants, and the ants are attacking these soldiers. It's just a great time. I unfortunately do not own the Blu-ray. I feel like it's so iconic. I think everyone has seen that poster Them is just one of those movies from the 1950s that gets a lot of love, but I feel like a lot of people haven't seen. So like, check that movie out. It's great. And next I have a movie that's a personal pick of mine. That is Boa versus Python. Holy shit. I love this movie. It's a direct-to-family video movie. One of the best iconic covers I've ever seen. I love these Komodo Boa versus movies that came out in the early 2000s of CGI to hell. I'm just kidding. It's not going to be that, but it's something very close. And this is a movie that truly still scares me to this day for whatever reason. That is Anacondas 2, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. A movie I talked about on Inside the Sequel, but I absolutely love this movie so much. It's not as good as the first Anaconda, but even though that Anaconda is freaking scary and I hate to see screens, my skin is literally crawling talking about Anaconda and thinking about it. Seeing that is really good, but getting a bunch more of them just adds more fuel to the fire for me. And in The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, I just always think about how they're all snaked around the orchid and they're all super huge. And the one inside the water in the opening trailer that just jumps up and like grabs somebody, and it's like an impossible. Anacondas 2 is I love that movie a lot. I love that franchise as well. I've seen the 4 of them. I think it is up to this point. The 2 of them, or one of them had David Hasselhoff, and yeah, big fan of the Anaconda franchise. But yeah, that's again another creepy crawling movie that makes my skin crawl. Even though they're CGI, I'm still fucking afraid of them. And when they just kind of linger down and just stare into your soul, my skin is literally crawling thinking about this. I am so fucked. But yeah, I gotta give Anacondas 2 his props, and it's gotta be in my top 10. It was that or Snakes on a Plane, because the really fat anaconda that breaks through the glass, and the snake biting the girl's boob will always be imprinted in my head. Coming in next, we're going to talk about some sharks again, and it's not Jaws or Cruel Jaws, but that is 47 Meters Below. I really love this movie. I discovered this last year, and I know the first movie, 47 Meters Down, is great. I honestly think Uncaged is better, only because the productions are better, and 2, you get more sharks. There is a scene in this movie where these girls are going into a cave, and they try to jump out from this little cove, and when they do, there's a bunch of sharks in the water, and they can't see them because their gear is out. They're trying to climb out when the sharks are just randomly attacking them. Honestly, a very chilling scene. You get to see the sharks underwater in like an old underground like temple and such, and they're blind, but they're really huge, and they're trying to hunt these girls. This is a great time. I really like 47 Meters Down. Unchained, I think this is a great sequel, and also the ending is very heart-pounding, where you don't know if everyone's gonna live or not because they're being on pursuit by these crazy sharks. This is how you do a shark movie. I really fuck with the shark genre now because of these 2 movies, mostly this. Can't wait to watch this in the summer. This is prime summertime creature feature vibes, baby. Coming in next is another movie that, again, I don't think it gets enough love, but that is Razortooth. Razortooth is a movie about this kind of like snake tendril thing. They came straight to DVD at Family Video, and I can't take the fucking the poster off my head for no matter how many drinks I have and no matter how many movies I see. I will always think of Razortooth and that poster as a kid. And no, it is not, again, going to be in the top 10. But I've seen a lot of these fucking creature feature movies, and a lot of them are bad, and I try to forget them, but I can't. I'm a sucker for these CGI early 2000s Family Video movies. I've seen them. I've rented them. And I always kind of randomly think about them. But no, that's not going to be, Razortooth is not it, but the next movie is actually Q, the Winged Serpent. This is by Larry Cohen. I don't know if you would technically consider this because Q looks like a giant monster, but it's like an Aztec ancient god. I think this movie does not get enough love. This is truly a great, great movie. It has a lot to say about society as a whole. The Q, the Winged Serpent itself, is really well shot, I think, and I like the whole concept of it attacking really crappy people in the movie. Honestly, for a very, very, very low budget movie, they do a great job with the creature itself. I really like Q the Winged Serpent. And honestly, this is a very cheap Scream Factory that I think everyone needs to see at some point. So coming in at the top 5, all right, let's go ahead and go with Pet Sematary 2. Pet Sematary 2, this is again directed by Mary Lambert. This is a sequel to the original Pet Sematary. Again, a great creature feature. This time we have Edward Furlong from Terminator 2 fame, and he is friends with this boy named Drew, and his and Drew has this dog named Zoe. It's a dog that protects him. They're both kind of outcasts, and unfortunately, Zoe falls prey to an unfortunate accident. Drew's stepfather, Gus, who is played by Clancy Brown, in one of the greatest horror movie performances, I'd say. It is so camp. It is so awesome and creepy and funny and honestly ruthless at times, where Zoe meets an unfortunate fate. But because this is the Pet Sematary franchise, the boys decide to bury it, because we bury our own here, into the Pet Cemetery, and Zoe comes back to life and starts stalking and killing its prey. Honestly, I'm kind of on Team Zoe. You know, I don't think it really did that much wrong. It's following his basic instincts. It had a troubled life anyway. But yeah, I just love Pet Sematary 2. I feel like this is such a great movie to enjoy. I got to see this movie actually at the Music Box, in one of their outdoor garden showings, which was a great time, and everyone had a good time. I love Pet Sematary 2. I always watch it, I feel like, once a year. It's kind of sad at times, but I love that 90s fall vibe. It's really great. Just a really, really good creature feature film. Coming in at number 4 is a movie, again, I think that's technically cheating, but this movie's so damn awesome, I have to put it in, and that is The Night Beast. I have this here through Vinegar Syndrome, Night Beast from 1982. The Night Beast, what can I say? It's got drip, it's got a great look, it's got a freaking ray gun. I love The Night Beast. It's a great movie, it's a great time. Yes, it's a sci-fi alien movie, and I said I wasn't going to do it, but it's The Night Beast, and I feel like beast is synonymous with a creature and an animal, and I have to throw it in there. And it's got such a crazy design. I know you can't really see it here in the middle, but I'll put a screenshot of my boy next to me. That's just a post of how we look similar. But I love The Night Beast. It's such a good movie. It's such craziness. It's so goofy, but sometimes I think the sci-fi like laser shooting is really competently made. Of course, it is Vinegar Syndrome. There's going to be some suggestive things in it, and then also some things don't make sense. But hey, that's part of the fun of this movie. I think this is a really solid watch. I remember watching for the first time, and I think that's when I realized that movies, you know, this is cinema, baby. Like we talk about the Citizen Kanes, we talk about the Criterion Collection, but what about Night Beast? Because Night Beast needs to be in that conversation. I can't really tell you much else about it other than it's kind of, you know, the Night Beast comes into a little sleepy town and causes some shit. Gotta love it. All right, rounding out the number 3 selection, I have actually an entire 4-pack, and that is the Croczilla four movies. You get Croczilla, Attack of the Giant Leeches, Piranha, Voyage of the Prehistoric Planet, and The Killer Shrews, but mostly for Croczilla. I mean, Croczilla is awesome. I have it here on DVD. I got this on a DVD, dollar DVD from the Dollar General. So it's $1.25 technically. It's not really, not number 3. But the fact that I have Croczilla should let you know to subscribe to this channel, because, you know, I know what I'm talking about. Next is Crawl, actually. Number 3 is Crawl. Killer alligators in the Florida. I mean, gator babies. I mean, gator representation in cinema is something I love. I love crocodiles. I love alligators in movies. Like Placid just missed out because I love Crawl just a little bit more. This is a great nonstop heart-pounding movie about a woman with her estranged father trapped in a basement during a hurricane or a flood. I can't remember what you would actually categorize it as, but it's in Florida, and these alligators are loose in the water of this small little town, and they're in her basement. And these things are creepy, they are scary, and they're freaking awesome. There's some big boys in this movie. I just love Crawl so much. Honestly, it's a little slow, I think, for some people at times, but when the freaking gators pull up, it's like game over, buddy, because my God, it's just so well made. Even though they're CGI, they're so cute and lovable, and they're vicious as fuck. The fact that they kill robbers from a gas station tells you they stood on business, because they don't fuck with loiterers and thieves. So, honestly, kind of the hero of this movie, the gators. I really love this movie. Saw it in theaters, and I always love to watch this movie and show this movie off to people. Yeah, I love Crawl. And it's got such a great name for a creature feature. So yeah, we gotta put that in the top 3, right? Next up, again, a little travesty, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't have it individually. I have it in this sweet box set though. But the creature from the Black Lagoon, not my all-time favorite Universal monster movie, but definitely, you know, I still enjoy it. I have to put it in the top 3 because it's so damn iconic, and honestly, it sets a lot of like the rules and like what this kind of subgenre stands for. I mean, it's just a fishman thing that just wants a girl. I mean, he's got questionable riz, you know, kidnapping riz for all I know, but at the end of the day, I can't blame the hustle, baby. I mean, he's a good creature, great design, it's iconic. The movie's very enjoyable. I do like the cast as well. Yeah, I mean, to get a more humanoid looking creature is genius. A lot of these movies don't really have that at all, but it does feel more of a creature than a human, even though it looks like it, which adds to the kind of horror of it all. But yeah, I got to give my props to the creature from the Black Lagoon. And then finally, I got to give it to the best poster of all creature feature movies at number 1, and that is Stung. Look at this freaking poster. As a 12 to 14-year-old, how are you not obsessed with this kind of stuff? Like, this is an amazing poster. Unfortunately, Stung, again, is not in my number 1 because that belongs to, again, technically cheating, Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, aka Ebirah Horror of the Deep. Now, yes, Godzilla is technically a sci-fi monster. I get it, yada, yada, yada. But I love Godzilla as my favorite creature, one of my favorite movie characters, period. I love this movie not only because it's Godzilla, obviously, like a giant lizard, but Ebirah is a giant crab monster. It's a sea monster. And they play beach volleyball / fight each other with a rock. And it just peak summer vibes, baby. And you get a bunch of other creatures in this movie, like giant. You get Kumanga in this, which is a giant spider. You get a bunch of different giant ants in this as well. You get so many different ones. I love this movie so much. It is my favorite Godzilla movie, 1967. It doesn't get any better than this, baby. This is like my favorite. Like, this is the easiest Godzilla movie to watch, I think. If you love the non-seriousness, but also some seriousness, this is the perfect blend of it. I love Ebirah Horror of the Deep, aka Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. And it kind of encompasses everything I love about this subgenre. It's just big monsters doing what they, having a good ass time, and we as humans having to pay for it, and honestly, the setting as well. I love the beach vibes as well. But there you have it. That is my top 10 creature features. How badly did I miss on this list? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. What are your top 10 creature features? If you're upset that you didn't see any sci-fi monsters or any werewolves or anything like that, that's because I hope to put them in my own top 10 specifically for that subgenre. If you'd like to see me do anything like that, drop a comment down below. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode here at Figure Out Films. My name is Chris, as always, and remember, if you do not watch the creature feature subgenre, I really got to ask, do you care about cinema? Other than that, I'll see you next time.